In a throne-like cage there sits one of the minor overlords of Warlock's Crypt, a type of creature called a modron, specifically a pentadrone, and also a vanishingly rare example of an undead modron, transformed into a vampire and operating within a large area enchanted to be supernaturally cold. The pentadrone is named Petro and is morose and a cruel creature, its 5 mouths muttering ceaselessly as it meticulously plans out and orders its tomb tapper minions to modify the area of Warlock's Crypt, which Warlock has some rather expensive divination equipment installed. Within a huge chamber, a wide array of lethal clockwork traps have been built around a priceless heap of collected magical items. Petro has collected these objects for centuries, usually as payment for architectural and security plans from an appreciative Warlock. The pile of treasure is actively used by Warlock, who can summon certain magical items around the Warlock's Crypt with just a gesture. This pile contains crystal balls, miniature orrery boxes, animated clockwork servants, and repair parts for Lanternese shield guardians, with an instruction manual written in Nimish. There's also enough magical wands loaded with various rays and beams to fill the bullet slots of a bandolier belt, and 2 padded crates of exquisite scroll paper, along with an angel feather quill pen. Pentadrones can perform 5 tasks simultaneously and obsessively collect magic items, which they usually treat with great reverence. Petro treats magic items like fuel rods, potential energy sources for a destructive warhead he will one day control. Petro hates being undead, or at least he acts that way constantly, right up to the point he is attacking you and draining all the blood from your body without warning or mercy. Then it's straight back to muttering and complaining a facade. Petro is a very cunning, observant and spider-like predator that is almost compelled to attack any victim who gets incapacitated or injured by one of his many traps. Is it possible to create a magic warhead, aside from a goddess of magic to hopefully stop it? A magical energy super warhead is manageable for a high-powered modron cursed with undeath to do with his time. Some part of its undead nature will drive it to create a warhead that causes mass paralysis, perhaps. It's easier to drain blood of countless victims that way. Tomb tappers have constructed all of the intricate clockwork mechanisms designed by Petro. They don't understand how the stuff works, but if they hit the large brass buttons with their super strong Armonite hammers, things will predictably happen in the lair. This button shoots a jet of fire across this part of the chamber. This button will electrify the entire floor. This button drops metal balls from above to slam into things and roll around when the floor is moving, etc. To make combat easier on the Dungeon Master, make a few connected dungeon rooms around a colossal central chamber, scatter brass activation buttons all over the map, and later decide what they do during the game. If a creature activates a button, it might do all sorts of things, even shift room positions around the big central chamber. The Tomb Tappers are constructed creatures that now replicate themselves. Their reproduction is a bit of a mystery. They have no gender, and their physical form is just that of a massive humanoid with rocky texture, a head without any facial features and a large maw in the chest. Normally, the Tharlut, or Tomb Tappers, dwell in the depths of the Underdark and are rarely seen. Just the echoes of their massive hammers can be heard as they tunnel new caverns and passageways. Tappers spend their lives in a solitary search for the source of all magic. They're also kind of obsessed with earth elementals, as it may seem they may be related to the earth elementals, or the secrets of their magical creation involve dark secrets about the earth elementals. The ancient Netherese wizards were known to engage in slavery and exploitation. Theirs was certainly not an ideal society. In many ways it was very unjust, but it was also very powerful. Tomb Tappers patrol the clockwork rooms of the Warlock's Crypt, and if they see any magic items, they will try to seize such devices from creatures they encounter. They never use magical items, but compile them in a colossal central chamber. They also have weird shrines they've built in the chamber, like insect alcoves filled with quartz, jade, agate, amethyst, tiger's eye, topaz, and hematite, meticulously polished and geometrically arranged in seemingly meaningless patterns. The Tomb Tappers have no eyes, so they arrange the stones by feeling and deciphering the echoes, their main senses, aside from an innate ability to detect magical auras. When killed, Tomb Tappers turn to stone, swiftly but too slowly to ensnare the weapon that killed them. They may have the foresight to wedge their body in a doorway or a narrow passage to block it like a slab of stone when they die. They resist petrification effects, of course, and are immune to charm, fear, sleep, fire and cold-based attacks and are resistant to electricity of all kinds. Tomb Tappers are not evil, they are driven by fairly strict directives, so they are lawful neutral, technically, but over time they gain a bit of personality and can be constantly active for a very long time, often scouting out over a vast area underground. Tappers can communicate with their own kind through a series of humming sounds made by their skin vibrations, and with other creatures through psionic telepathy. Tappers have the ability to animate and sculpt stone, about 9 cubic feet of it once every 10 minutes or so, and they are fond of making weird swirling patterns around themselves. Tappers have gigantic mouths in their abdomens with multiple rows of diamond-hard teeth. These jaws can crush rock, from which tappers extract mineral sustenance. They need little else and absorb water through their skin. They will tunnel deep until they encounter lava and then work to extract a special alloy called armonite, crafting it into impressive 10-foot long sledgehammers which the tomb tappers can swing around with just one hand. They're not very agile hand to hand, but they can hurl their super hard hammers with advantage as long as they know the target's location. An unexpected attack from this creature when you aren't familiar with them. Tappers occasionally aid or cooperate with dwarves whose magical items they will leave unmolested. They also have no interest in the magic of drow, and they hate umber hulks, sometimes enslaving specimens from birth. Tappers and Zorn tend to ignore each other, and gnomes typically avoid them entirely or risk life and limb trying to capture and experiment on them. What other horrors does the Warlock's Crypt contain? My name is AJ Pickett. Thanks for listening, and as always, I'll be back with more for you very soon.